All right, ZestFesters, it's time. It's 4 o'clock high back at the Celebrity Chef stage, and I am in no position to tell the story of the man you see before you, so I will not even try, other than to say he is universally known, acclaimed, awarded, respected, and loved as the one and only CaJohn Hard.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you all. I've been at every one of these things that have been in Texas, ever from the time it was in Austin to Fort Worth to Irving, and now here in Dallas. And a lot of people think that I'm from the state of Texas, but I used to be from the state of Ohio. And everybody, we go do shows in New York, they think I was from New York, they think I was from Louisiana. Now I live in New Mexico, so I'm close to Texas. I'm about 45 miles north of El Paso. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to do something using hatch chilies. We're going to make a potato corn chowder with hatch chilies, and it's a vegetarian dish, all except for the fact that it does have some Chihuahua cheese in it. So it's something that's lighter. It's easy to make, and we're going to start here by melting some butter. I got to figure the stove out, though. I've worked on that one, which is thank you, Dana. Dana just does a super job backing us people up, and you know, she's the one that makes it work here. So let's give her a hand, yeah. It stops. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to move over to the other one. So while we do this, do you want to move it? I'll go ahead and show them how to make the hot sauce. One of the things that I always like to do on this, and we'll have some of this hot sauce available for you to try in your soup, is we make some fresh hot sauce, and it's really easy. It's a Louisiana-style hot sauce recipe. We're using some serranos, some jalapenos, a little bit of onion. We're going to take this and start with some distilled vinegar. You know, a lot of people complain about the amount of vinegar that's in hot sauce, but if it wasn't for the vinegar, there'd be a lot less in the bottle, and it's the preservative that makes this thing work. So I've worked with this thing before, so I know that it's not really trustworthy sometimes. So we're going to do half of it, and then we'll do the other half. Otherwise, sometimes it just sits there and it doesn't do anything but spin, and nothing happens to what's in it. Okay, we've got the onions. We've got a little bit of the peppers, and like I said, I'm going to be adding it. So. Yeah. So we get it started there. Then we're going to put the rest of it in. A little garlic, a little onion, a couple of different chilies, and white vinegar. We'll just hit this thing and get it mixed up a little bit here. We're going to pause, and then we're going to add some salt. I'm not going to use all this, but you know, the CaJohn's products are salt. They're sodium, low sodium by design. The one thing is we use fresh chilies and not fermented salted chilies in it. So you start off right there. A lot of times fermented chilies have about 28% of the weight is salt. So you can't get that salt out of the mash. So I'm not a big fermented guy. I like fresh stuff. So we'll get this mixed up, and we're just going to kind of let it sit here for a little bit. And this is something that you can do with any kind of peppers. It's about, I probably put 2 cups of vinegar in here. But I would say you're going to take a cup of vinegar and just a little bit of salt, your chilies, your garlic, your onion. You could do this. You could keep this in your refrigerator for a couple of weeks. And, you know, it's really good to make. I like to make it with Fresno. I'll make it with the big cayennes when I can find them. But, you know, with the New Mexico people, a lot of people think that the #1 chili grown in New Mexico is the green chili. And it's really not. It's the cayenne, and they're great big cayennes like that, about that big around. And they've got names like Mesilla, Las Cruces cayenne. They're named after the southern cities there. But there is a lot of green chili, but it's, you know, almost all the big companies, you know, the McCormick's, which owns Frank's now, and all those, they use chilies from New Mexico and Mexico. And they're not from Louisiana. We all got our move done? Okay, well, we're sweating the onions. We're going to add the potatoes. There's quite a bit of wind up here, isn't there? But we're going to add the Hatch chili. Got some other things working back here, but I don't know what it is. It's very colorful. What you got going back there, Chef? Okay. It's elote. Now this is definitely going to be sort of the magic of Chef Dana. I'm going to put all this in here, show you how to put it together, and boom, we're going to have soup. Right? Yes. Scott got to try it. He said it was phenomenal. But he's a good guy, you know. He wouldn't tell me if he didn't like it. So we'll get these things going. We're going to add our chicken broth. We had 2 partials here. You wouldn't normally put this much in here, but we kind of had one. Now we're balancing it out with this other one. So I'm going to add the corn. And even though this is a chowder, it's one of the New Mexican meals that we eat when it's hot. And it just is a wonderful sort of thing. I'm going to put some crema in it. Now this is sweet crema as opposed to sour cream. And it's kind of the consistency there of like melted ice cream in a way. And I loved it when I was watching Chef Jana cook, and she goes, I don't measure anything. I don't either. I just kind of know what it looks like, what it's supposed to go. It's like Ron plays the guitar that way, right? You don't need no frets on that thing, do you? Somebody been drinking the whipping cream?
Yep. That's what it says.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to add to this is a product that is available over here at the CaJohn's booth. Uh, it's a wild mushroom sauce. It's the latest sauce that I made for the company. I used to own the company, but it was bought by our largest customer in 2018. And so now that's why I live in New Mexico. But not because they bought it, but I was supposed to be retired. However, COVID made me rethink things about being retired after I had all that time to just sit and stare at the wall. So, but I do work for a chili company out there. It's the La Posta restaurant that's been out there for 83 years. They started a chili company this year, and they hired me to come in and get things started and build their kitchen for them. So anyway, this is a wild mushroom sauce. It's not really hot. It's meant to be a flavor sauce, not so much a hot sauce, but it's kind of in the series. We had a black garlic sauce that did very well, won Best of Show here a couple years ago, and you know, it's in that vein. It's more of a flavor. Now you can see how this has got a rich look to it right now. We're going to even make it richer by putting the Chihuahua cheese in it. You know, a lot of people think that Hatch is a type of chili. It's really not a type. There's lots of different types out there. It's just where it's grown. It's kind of like Champagne in the Champagne region in France. If it's not there, and one of the other things I learned when I came out there was you'll see agave spirit. It's the same thing with tequila, where they grow the agave. If it's not in certain areas, they can't call the liquor tequila. They have to call it something else, so they call it agave spirit. And Dana, how do I get this thing?
You want it up?
Yeah, I got it.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you. Like I said, we couldn't exist without Dana.
That's not true.
So we're going to let this warm up a little bit, and we're going to make something else here. Now this is a real easy, something that you can do at home. This is a Mexican shrimp cocktail. See, I told you it's windy. It's blowing the ingredients away. So we're going to start with a jar of salsa. Don't blink because you might miss something here. And this salsa is courtesy of our friends over at Texas Twisted. They're at the end of the row down here. Great salsa, great fresh taste. And we've got Evil Cowboy Bloody Mary mix. And you add about the same amount of the Bloody Mary mix. This is 32 ounces, but we're going to put about 16 in here. We've got some shrimp that have been boiled, and they were big shrimp, so I cut them up into pieces. We'll put those in here. We got avocado. It's always a great addition to it. Mix this in. And we're going to add some cilantro to it. And if you don't like cilantro, you don't have to add it. Yeah. I happen to love cilantro, so. Let's make sure that don't blow away. Come back over and check on this a little bit. It's looking pretty good right now.
I'll stir.
Oh, it's okay. I'll put a little bit of lime juice in here, which is going to Going to give it a little acidity, as if there's not enough in there with the 2 tomato products. But I really like lime too. And this is pretty easy. This is done. You know, if you need to throw something together for some guests and you have all this there, you know, you can get it done really quick. And I got too many limes.
Got too many lines?
That's all right though. Yeah. And oh, here we go. This is what it looks like in a jar or a bowl. We're limited here with what we have on stage, but try to clean it up a bit.
There you go.
And there we have our shrimp cocktail, Mexican style.
Tell them that you normally put tequila in it.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that we didn't have. It normally gets a little bit of tequila in it too. It's optional, but it just offsets the flavor. So we've got our hot sauce. We've got our shrimp cocktail. We got our soup. Now I've got to add a little bit of that cilantro to the soup as a, but we're going to put a little Cajun twist in it. I thought you were going to tell them where CaJohn came from, the name. I'll tell you.
I will be happy to, Chef, but I'm never going to step on your stories.
Oh,
Good grief,
no, go
I'm just the
ahead.
hired help. You're,
Go ahead. I want to hear your Cajun accent.
oh boy. Well, the story goes that CaJohn, John Hard, is from Ohio.
An
Nothing wrong with
Irishman.
being- yeah, nothing wrong with being from there. Cincinnati, Skyline Chili, Cleveland, it's all wonderful. But CaJohn shows up in Louisiana and is assisting, helping, whatever, with the oil rig, the oil industry.
The
in
oil
Lou-
industry, fire protection in the oil industry.
And they had basically taught him or indoctrinated John into that culture, that food culture.
I loved it. I just couldn't get enough.
Do you want to finish this story? So the point being that when he would show up, these folks in Louisiana wouldn't call him John, they would call him CaJohn. Like Cajun John. He was CaJohn John. And they finally shortened it to just CaJohn because he had become one of them. And that's an honor. That's an honor I wish I had. In fact, you have an honorary Cajun certificate.
Yeah, I went down in about 2005, I guess, and competed in the Cajun hot sauce championships down there. And I was from Ohio, and we ended up being grand champion. And in fact, we did it 3 years in a row. But after that first year, they did it in between the bands. They did things at the breaks of the bands. And so they called me back up on stage after they had already given it to me. And I thought, well, what the heck? Are they going to take it away from me? Because people were just unbelievable that I was from Ohio. And Stacy Oob was the director of the Acadiana Fairgrounds there. And she had found a certificate that made me an honorary Cajun. So on that day, they gave me a certificate making me an honorary Cajun because they couldn't have a Yankee come down there and beat them at their own hot sauce game. So, you know, that was pretty fun. And we had a lot of fun with it through the years. And, you know, got to meet got some backdoor tours of a couple of couple big plants down there, the Louisiana brand plant and the famous Tabasco plant. We got backdoor tours of that, and it was just incredible. But to be true to the Cajun part of me, we have Bayou Gotham. This is Bayou Bourrée. And bourrée means stuffed in the Cajun French. But this is a fantastic little thing. So we're just putting a little color on it there. I suppose you can see it. Can you? Okay. But we don't have a ladle. I think Dana's got the ladle out back. So any questions? Dana's got the soup ready back there. She doesn't have all of this, but we'll be able to take some of the hot sauce down there for you to try as well.
There's your ladle.
Got another ladle.
Any questions for CaJohn? You'll hear in my Cajun accent, that's actually brilliant. My Cajun accent is award-winning. Any questions for CaJohn? You just want to eat, right? That's the thing?
Hey, you know, that's the thing that most people do ask at the end of it is, when are we going to eat? So I'll just shut up. We'll get the samples out here. There's what the soup looks like. They said you can put chicken or something else in it if you really like that. I wouldn't put Roadrunner in it. It's I don't know what that coyote was after all the time, but. So thanks a lot, people. We'll see you.
Did you ever work with Justin Wilson?
No,
Hey.
Justin Wilson is my favorite Cajun cook of all time. But I did work a lot with Chef Paul Prudhomme. I used to do a lot of road things with him, and he's the one that actually gave me my title as chef. We were in Reno at the Hooten Hilton Hot and Fiery weekend, and he was in the booth across from me. We were out in the parking lot with our booths, and he was doing a celebrity dinner to raise money for one of the charities that they were doing it for. And one of his chefs couldn't make it in, so he came over and said, "Chef, can you come help me out?" And I said, "Oh, I'd love to." You know, I was a big fan of his too, and he kept calling me chef, and I said, "You know, nobody's ever given me the title." And he said, "Well, it's time to do that." He said, "Drop down on one knee." And he took his chef's knife and patted me on one shoulder and patted me on the other, and he said, "Now get up and get to work, chef." So that's it. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoy it.
One more time. How about it for CaJohn? How's the soup? Good? Universal. Unanimous. Thanks, everybody. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we're going to put the lid on the Celebrity Chef stage with Vic Klinko. Largest hot sauce collection in the world. I'm sure there are a couple of bottles of CaJohn's in there as well, but that's coming up at 5, everybody.